Who would have thought that the red thread of fate was a cat made out of thread, the one that saved all the Black Clover's lives and became the MVP for this arc. Ladies and gentlemen, anime onlys, Rouge has appeared. How's it going though, everyone? My name is Ranger Flame. Welcome everyone to my Black Clover episode 64 anime review. The emotional part of this arc begins, and I'll have to say it right off the bat, I don't even care. And I don't know, like, I love this part of the arc, but hands down this episode was better than last week's. You know, last week was supposed to be this hyped episode because, of course, we're introduced into Demon Asta. Of course, Asta's huge development going through a Black Clover, but there's that debate of the animation here or there. But this episode in general, even though it focused mostly just on Vanessa, I thought this episode was greater. I thought the storyline was a lot better. I thought it gave huge character development, of course, you know, to Vanessa. Some characters as well, but I guess, you know, animation, it was clean. You could actually see what is going on throughout the storyline. But yeah, so it continues off. The third kind of villain in this arc is the Queen of the Witches. We all know that she wanted Asta's power from the very beginning, ever since she saw Asta come towards, you know, the force with the Black Bulls. And she also wanted, that's described in this episode, is the huge mysterious power that is within Vanessa. And this is her character development throughout the story. Just like I said in many of my reviews, that every single time an arc comes up for Black Clover, there's always going to be a huge development for one Black Bull member, and we get to see Vanessa's huge development in the storyline. And this, you know, kind of character development, in my personal opinion, guys, is the most, I guess, important character development that we have got throughout the story. And it's like, yes, I know Asta's is really cool, you know, with the demon power, but as, I guess, strong individuals of who you think is strongest in the Black Bulls currently right now, I would say Vanessa definitely hands down in the top 3 right now, because her power, she can control destiny. She can control the fate of outcomes throughout battles and just in the story forever throughout Black Clover, you know, and her lifetime. You know, that is OP when you look at it. That is a strong power, and you can definitely tell that the Queen of the Witches wanted this power ever since the very beginning. So let's go back to the very story of how Vanessa actually grew up in general, because we see from her past that her story is emotional. We could tell that just from a young age. I don't know specifically about the age. I'm just going to go like age 6 or 7, somewhere around there. I didn't say in the episode. I don't think it's said in the manga, but you can just tell that Vanessa is very young in this. That she is trapped in a cage all of her life. You know, ever since, you know, she was little, she was just trapped in this dark place until she reveals this destiny magic of what we got into today's episode. Because ever since she was born, the Queen of the Witches knew that this power was inside Vanessa and that she wanted it, and she thought, hey, if she traps her into a cage, she doesn't go anywhere, the Queen of the Witches know where she is every single time until she unlocks this power, she could just snatch it from her like that. So mostly throughout her life we see that Vanessa is trapped in this cage, and it's just sad because she has no one to talk to. She is lonely in this cage. She's like a bird in a cage, for example. That's how Yomi described her in this episode, which of course we see a little bit of younger Yomi, which is actually kind of really cool in her storyline here or there, because we've seen from Domino and we've seen from Vanessa that the Queen of the Witches is a scary individual, a scary person, and also a very strong one as well, because ever since, you know, if you lived in this forest, if you ever betray the Queen, you could potentially die. So we see that, you know, from Vanessa and her younger self, that she doesn't want to defy the witch at all, because if she does that, she could potentially die and not be a part of this world anymore. And ever since Yami came into this, we all know Yami's individual. He doesn't give a crap about anyone. He follows his own path and wants to become stronger. So when he actually faced the witch, we didn't actually see it, you know, in this episode of the manga as well. He just described it to Vanessa when he breaks in to this palace that she is stuck in. Yami changed her life, and we could tell that, you know, from scenes here or there throughout Black Clover. That's why Vanessa fell in love with Yami, because Yami changed her destiny to become someone new. Instead of being in this lonely shell in a bird cage throughout all of her life to try to see if this power will actually work or not, and that doesn't even matter in the first place, because if she unlocks this power, that she's immediately going to die, because the Queen of the Witches wants to take that power for herself. So she destroyed the rules of the Queen of the Witches. She kind of betrayed her when you looked at it to go and follow a new family. We see her join the Black Bulls. We see her live a new life. We see her find a new family that she could live a happy life every single day, and that is thanks to Yami and thanks to the Black Bulls. And no, she is not a family to the Queen of the Witches, even though that she lived here like kind of almost all of her life. She thinks that these are the people that cared about her the most. They make her really happy, and that's how the thread magic cat comes into play right here, and she reveals this power, that a thread cat, the power to control destiny. And we see that power in this episode. For example, when the Queen of the Witches was controlling Asta, and this completely shocked me. I didn't actually thought they would actually put this in the episode. It doesn't really show the gore, like we could tell it's all filled with red when Asta swinged his sword and actually decapitated Noelle. But the thing about the thread of the cat, Rouge, for example, that is the cat's name, if it touches an individual, it will change fate. So instead of Asta actually killing Noelle, he just misses and kind of destroys that cross that Noelle is sitting in. So this is what I'm talking about OP right now as an individual for Noelle in the future of Black Clover, is that if they're in a fight or if someone is potentially going to die and she uses the power of her magic and with the Rouge, she could control destiny and change the outcomes throughout everything. So that's why we didn't see Noelle pass away or even Finral pass away in this episode, because Vanessa and Rouge changed destiny, and this is Vanessa's new power into Black Clover, which is such a cool moment as well. And I love it that it just shuts up the Queen of the Witches, just because we see this all-power individual thinks that she can control everything, everything can be hers. It finally crumbles once in her life, and that's to Vanessa and the power of her magic. And that was really today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. It was fantastic. I think the animation was beautiful. The storyline, it was sad, but it was such a good one as well. Like I said, it just focused on Vanessa in this episode as well. But that's what I love about Black Clover, and I just want to give Asta just the credit in this anime. It's not just one character, it's multiple. This is what the Black Bull's journey is to follow each individual character, how they're actually going to affect the Black Clover series in general, and what's going to happen with their future. And we see that with this individual. I love Vanessa, her character, and I'm glad she finally has this development, and for anime only to actually see this power come full, because this is going to be important for the future of Black Clover. I know I always say that throughout my reviews and every single character, but that's the thing. We're into the Black Bull's journey. You got to focus on each character, because each character has a storyline going more into the universe of this show. But yeah, I love this episode, guys. I would have to say I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Truly worth watching. I love this witch arc. It's sad that we're finally going to get the finale in next week's episode. I don't know if it's going to go a lot more. I'm hoping that we get information here or soon about if we're going to get a new season or if it's going to continue on. I'm not really too sure about that. But guys, comment down below how you thought about this episode. Like this video if you guys haven't, and subscribe to the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys next week though for a new episode of Black Clover. Much love, guys, and as always, have yourselves a wonderful day.